Hello, guys.
Yan.
Good
Hello world. Hello.
evening. Good,
Hello
ay nga pala.
world.
Yes po, hindi nga
Healthy,
pala good
happy
evening
day
lang.
to all our ka-revolutionaryos. Once again, welcome to
Yes.
Health Revolution, the show that addresses your physical health, mental health, spiritual health, and even your economic health. Ang no
Hmm,
monetitis. Yan.
yun, no
This is Betty Yao,
monetitis.
but you can call me Tita Bets, your DOH certified naturopath practitioner and advocate of proactive healthcare. Just follow the
Hmm,
regimen of
yeah.
detox, flush, and nourish, and you will be healthy and happy. And this is my co host, ang forever inquisitive young mind. Thank you for joining me again for another hour of continuous learning and sharing. Hello, DJ Raymond.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Kasi nga, we are global, all over the virtual world. Kumusta po? And it's always a pleasure to be with you with this weekly show po natin, Health Revolution, wherein we motivate people, we encourage people to be more proactive para sa kanilang kalusugan. That's the only way, di po ba? Health is always, ito yung tunay na wealth. And sabi
Mm.
naalala ko yung, well, there's also wealth in health nga pala. Pero health is wealth muna. Pero syempre, we are excited about our episode tonight or today or kasi on demand din nga pala to after our streaming on YouTube. You can play this on demand anytime at mybiginc.ph. Oh, I'm sorry, at mybigincph on YouTube. And we are
Yeah.
going to talk about three P's. Tita Bets, mukhang ano, naging,
Oh,
isa
exciting
lang,
yung
isa lang kulang na mutik maging ayuda. Four P's.
four piece. Mm.
Oh, po,
But
exciting. The three P's in
it's
fighting COVID. Yes po.
mm. Tsaka ano, it's a good ano, siyempre medyo year-end na rin, 'di ba? We are
Opo.
hoping and praying that COVID will be far away from us next year. Pero we
Mhm.
always learn our lesson from history, 'di ba? So that's
That's
why
right.
we are very lucky to have our guest tonight who is a survivor of
Yun.
COVID. Diba?
Opo.
So, ano,
Opo.
DJ Raymond, please do the honors of making the
Yes.
introduction.
Okay. Okay. We are so honored talaga po because our guest today, okay, is Philippine COVID positive patient number 1819. Hindi tayo natutuwa na siya tinamaan ng COVID, ha? Kasi natutuwa tayo dahil siya ay overcomer. Okay, pero can you imagine nasa 2.8 na yung and counting, a million and counting ang patients
Mm,
ngayon. Actually,
mm,
nag-slow down naman pero can you imagine nasa 1,819 pa siya noon. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa masyadong kabisado ng mga, even the doctors were even almost the very first people who got, ano, di ba, victim,
mm,
who fell and paid
mm.
with their dear lives
And
in fighting COVID.
he was intubated and
Ay,
he
opo.
was in coma for several
Mhm.
days.
He was COVID critical from March 19 last year, 2020, intubated for 19 days and hospitalized ayan, for a total of, wow, 29 days. When doctors were still clueless how to treat this virus that shocked and blindsided the global health industry and, of course, including the global economy. Thank God Harold survived. Okay, he's presently the general manager of Philippine Middle East and African operations of international company X1R Global Limited. Wow. He also served as president of other Philippine companies. He was former chairman of the board of trustees of a graduate school and a Bible college. Wow, lodi talaga to. And he's also a senior pastor of Kainos Zoe New Life Alliance Ministries. Ayan, please welcome. Siyempre, pero before natin siya ipasok, merong konting pinaghandaan tayo na, o inihanda tayo yung stream. Pero papakilala natin ang pangalan, si Reverend Harold Ledda. But please, parang ito, more information about our special guest. right, so welcome
Ayan.
to Health Revolution, Reverend Harold Ledda.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Good afternoon. I don't know if it is morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever part of the world you are. Uh, I'm glad to join you, DJ Raymond, and Ma'am Betty. I always call Ma'am Betty. We work together, so
Yes.
di ako sanay Tita Bet. Ma'am Betty na lang. And so uh, it's an honor, a privilege to be invited to your show, and a health revolution indeed is a must, especially in today's situation.
Yes po. Okay.
Yeah. Oo nga
I-move
eh.
natin kayo. Yes po.
During the ano, we are actually the honor of having you here is more ours because it's a good year ender that you are here to talk about what happened to you during the pandemic, which of course we would all like to leave behind in 2021. But it seems like uh, COVID is still going to follow us into 2022. But then, if we learn the lessons from the past, it would be best for us, di ba? So that we can look forward to a brighter 2022. At least, I know during yung nung time, no, that you had the COVID, it was during the early part and madami ko pa palang kailangan gawin, Reverend Harold. Because sabi nga nila, 'di ba? Well, I've known Harold for quite some time and pangalawang buhay na nga ni Harold eh. So, pangatlo na siguro ngayon. Before
Parang
Harold
pusa.
And
also met an
accident,
accident, freak accident
2013.
actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
2013.
2013 yun, no? Grabe,
Yeah.
no? Imagine yung truck bigla na lang sumalubong sa kanya, napahiga
Oh.
siya, and he had broken ribs and everything. But he was able
Mhm.
to recover in just, how long ba yun, Harold?
About 3 months instead of like
Three
they were saying
months? Mhm.
about a year. Dapat daw
Oo,
so, but
yeah.
miraculously 3 months lang. I
Oo
was
nga.
back to
And
work.
then
Wow.
also, di ba,
Yeah.
sabi pa nindong doctor, you have to have your operation on the clavicle bone, ganon.
Mhm.
Bugbog na nga yung kidneys at that time eh. So, it was very good kasi nga, kung hindi, mas malaking problema ni Harold noong time na yon.
That's
Pero yun na
correct.
nga, another thing happened to Harold in 2019. So,
Yep.
maybe you can tell your story about your experience with COVID in
2020.
2020
2020,
pala yun, sorry,
2020, 2020.
2020, yes. Parang
Yeah.
ang tagal na no ng
Matagal
COVID.
na.
Yes.
Oh,
Totoo po.
dalawang taon na. Dalawang taon na. Well, um, when COVID started, no one really sort of believed what it was.
Hmm.
And people were saying, and ano ba yun? It's a China flu. So, and Philippines generally, we were spared by we never had the experience of the Ebola or the bird flu that hit other countries. So for the Filipinos, kwan na lang naman yan, parang sa ibang bansa lang yan.
Hmm.
March 15, the government declared lockdown.
Yeah.
I
17 exactly was the first day of the first of the
lockdown,
lockdown.
yeah, lockdown.
Mm-mm.
About by March 15, March 17. But prior to that, like actually I because I used to travel, my job being in charge of Philippines, Middle East, and Africa brings me to I do 40 country visits a year. So I was traveling a lot. So I think I remember I came from Thailand at the time. I came from Davao was the latest trip. So when I came back, I felt like the normal parang tinatrangkaso and masama yung pakiramdam. So I had myself checked and the doctor tried to check me on dengue. Wala naman problema. But it's still, so I had all the symptoms na sinasabi nila ngayon. Colds, cough, fatigue,
Fever.
flu-like symptoms, fever. I had that, but the doctors sa clinic told me that kailangan lang yan ng this kinds of medicines because it wasn't uh, dengue as they thought. But on the
Mm.
sixth day, the symptoms disappeared, and then it was
Mm.
replaced by different symptoms like loss of taste. That was
Mm.
the strangest part.
Mm.
Loss of
Mm.
smell,
Correct.
and
Smell.
I used to walk at least for like 20 minutes a day. Pagkatapos, parang 3 minutes na lang, 4 minutes, pagod na ako. So I have to
Mm.
stop.
Mm. Mm.
So I did not work for like 2 days. But the
Mm.
second day, nahirapan ako huminga. That was actually the seventh
Oh.
day. That was already like
Mm.
the 19th. Uh,
Mm.
well, the March 18, I think. 18.
Mm.
Nahirapan akong huminga, and wala na talaga. I really lost appetite. I cannot eat anything except pomelo. Nothing really
Oh.
tasted. And it was a very terrible feeling. But on the
Mm.
19th of March, I cannot even walk 10 meters
Mm.
because
Okay.
I totally lost strength, and I thought like I will collapse. So I called my sister. No, I called my doctor, and he said you have to go to the nearest hospital because palagay ko COVID na yan.
Mm.
And so I asked my sister to pick me up. Make the long story short, I was brought to Makati Med kasi may kilala naman. My sister also works with the pharma company. So I did not go to the emergency room. I just went to the outpatient on the second floor. But when they took so I have to line up. But when they took and I was not really feeling well, so my sister insisted that they attend to me first. And when they took my oxygen level, I think it was already 82
Wow.
at that
Kaya
time.
pala ano lang, a few
Uh,
steps and then ano,
uh,
you feel you cannot breathe.
82.
Mm.
And so they brought me down to the um, emergency room. Puno na ang emergency room because that was after 19 on the 20th of March, closed ng Makati Med. Wala nang pasyenteng i-allow. So I was
Mm.
like photo finish to be in there.
Mm.
Mm.
So they have to do all the tests on me, about 8 hours, and I can see a lot of people coming to the emergency room. So I think it took them, pinatulog pa nila konti ako doon waiting for the test. But I can see I even saw people dying there when I was in the
Mm.
Mm.
emergency room.
Emergency.
I had
Mhm.
them to
Mm.
move me. Then came the
Mm.
result after like 8 hours or
Mhm.
so in the emergency room,
Mhm.
and they said the X-ray shows pneumonia and your lungs is only 20% functioning.
Wow.
Wow.
But we don't
Mm.
know that COVID because it will take at the time. Remember this? I was patient 1819. Wala pang may alam
Mm.
anong gamot sa COVID, and it was
Mm.
taking like 14 days for
Mm.
this regional tropical RT. What is this?
So RITM, sir.
RT-PCR.
Also
The
Not
RITM Hospital.
the no,
mm.
the
Rizal. Yeah.
regional testing center. There was only one
Yes, sir.
testing center at the time. The one
RITM
in
po.
Alabang,
Yes
RITM,
po.
Mm.
RITM. So you have to
RITM.
send all
Mm.
the samples to RITM,
Oh, no.
and it would take like 10 days to 14 days for you to
Mhm.
know whether you're positive or not. But the doctor
Mhm.
said, we cannot wait for that.
Mm.
Uh, the symptoms are you most likely have COVID. Then they said we will bring you to the ICU. Then
Mhm.
when I was brought to the ICU, wala nang bantay. Wala na yung sister ko,
Mm.
wala na yung
Mm.
uh, uh, to help her. So I was alone. And then the doctor talked to me. He said, we have to intubate you.
Mm.
But before that, we have to let you sign a waiver.
Oh, no.
We really do not have,
Mm.
we don't have any medicine for COVID at the time. So, but maybe this will help. They said, one is anti-malaria. I don't even know what was that medicine. And will give you
Ano?
something something that you do for chemo, and something that
Mm.
they do for AIDS,
Mhm.
for your immune system, something. You
Mm.
sign like 75,000 per medicine.
Oh, my
Well,
Oh.
the,
So it
sign
it
the
was a
waiver,
cocktail. It was a cocktail of
cocktail.
medicine,
cocktail
in
of some
other
label
words.
of some off-label drugs.
Talagang
That so,
ano, guinea
but
pig.
yeah, but it makes sense in my thinking. I was still awake. It makes sense. Of course, I was already gasping for air. But it makes
Mm.
sense, like, okay, you anti-malaria to kill whatever microorganism is there, anti-cancer to kill
Mm.
whatever toxicity,
Mm.
and
Mm.
uh, for the immune system, anti-AIDS or whatever. Okay, then
Mm.
I said, okay, it was so fast. We have to intubate you.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't even know. I knew about a ventilator, but I thought intubation was different. Intubation was different from being in a ventilator. But he said, okay, we have to
Mhm.
intubate. Right? I have to sign. You have no option.
Mm.
Mhm.
And then they intubated me, and I forgot what happened next. That was 19th of March. And then I sort of woke up in a room that was colored green. I
Mhm.
said, why is the room like green? Where am I? And
Mm.
so I was trying to, try, I was, of course, I cannot talk because I was intubated. So I can move. So the nurse came, and I sort of told him, can I borrow my cell phone? Or I was asking for the date. At
Mm.
the date, it was already like March 24 or 23.
Mm.
So
So
I was
you
like
were
unconscious.
sleeping. Oh, you're
Yeah, I was like
unconscious
in
for
coma or unconscious for 3, 4
nine,
days.
19 to
20,
24.
20, yeah,
Oh,
20,
5
21, 22,
days.
23, 24, 4 days plus.
Mm.
And it was not an air conditioned room. It was, they call it a room that was, uh, they said there was no uh, moisture, but no air
Mm.
conditioning, so that there will be
Mm.
no contamination. And
Mhm.
it was a
Ah,
very
okay.
difficult time, because when you are intubated, all that you think about is air.
Yeah.
Mm,
Nothing else.
mm, mm,
You have to be like,
mm, mm.
walang iba.
Kasi 'di
Also
ba
out. So,
parang ano kaya nalulunod, parang your
yeah,
body has a lot of water, your lungs is full of water, 'di ba?
yeah.
I think the
So you have
feeling
to,
is like that daw.
yeah. So
Mm,
you have to really like fight it. And then
mhm,
I said, parang sasabog na yung dibdib ko. Then they will
mm,
give you something so that you get to sleep again.
mhm, hmm, hmm,
And then, uh, but the more difficult part there is that you get like choked. So you will have
hmm,
to
Mhm.
call for an emergency, and then they will suction you. And then when
hmm,
they suction it, you literally lose all the air. So you really feel you
mhm,
die.
hmm,
And
Oh,
then
hmm,
just before you pass out, the air
mhm.
comes back.
hmm,
Uh, and that
hmm.
Wow.
happens 10 times a day.
Oh,
Oh, mhm,
10
that
times
often?
a day for 19 days.
mm.
Oh, wow.
Grabe
And
'no?
so,
Opo.
yeah, it was a tough, very tough thing.
Mm.
But of course, my only
Pero
hope
at
really
least you
was
survived.
God. Yeah,
Yes
Mm.
po.
I was, all that was in my mind is God and my breathing. And
Mhm.
So
after all, I knew God was the author of life, and so I said,
mm,
well, if I have to go, then I have to go. But I was
Yes.
fighting
mm,
to survive,
mm,
because, but very, very, very strange part. All through this time, I thought there was somebody seated on top of my head,
Mm.
because I cannot
mm,
move.
Okay.
I cannot move. And of course, I can see the nurses. But I can write. I was beginning to be conscious on the sixth day. But I always feel when I'm awake that there was someone like somewhere here I cannot see. You know
Mhm.
mm,
when there is
mm,
somebody beside you, you know there is, but you cannot see.
mhm,
Uh, Something like that. So I believe it was God's presence. I suppose, because
Mhm.
the people in church were really praying for me. We have a
mm,
24-hour prayer watch, and
mm,
like a prayer chain.
mhm,
48 people praying every 30 minutes.
Mhm.
mm, mm,
Make the long story short, on the 19th day, they removed the intubation, and I still have to stay another like 10 days for me to be out of the hospital. And but I thank the Lord, because I did not experience any of the post-COVID symptoms
Mhm.
that
Wow.
mhm,
Good.
I read about after. The
Mhm.
people after 3 months, 4 months are still having
Yes.
problems with breathing. They have
mm,
Yes.
problems with
Tsaka yung long
dizziness,
COVID.
and all the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot. Wala. The strange part was that I could not run, not even 5 minutes. before I had COVID, but I started exercising after COVID. Then now I can run 30 minutes to 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
Parang
Uh,
It's a big
biglang ano
uh,
'no,
change.
big
since
big
Health-conscious,
since the last 18
being
months.
active. Opo.
biglang ano na,
Active.
aware na si Harold that he should exercise.
Yes.
Yeah.
O baka
Uh,
probably dati meron ng ano, there's something in your lungs na natanggal, pati yun natanggal yung ano.
yeah, and talagang kwa na lang, it was really a blessing that I did not have like multiple organ failure. That was
Hmm,
because
mm.
I was also during that time I was like I knew I had this uh I think dialysis or something like that. They have to clean my
Hmm,
kidney, they have to detoxify me. But one of
mm.
the funny part there is that they have to get during the 19 days, they have to keep on getting blood every like 30 minutes from me.
Mm.
Hmm, hmm.
So from the artery. So they have to move the needle from here to here. And
Mm.
because these doctors were in PPE, one of the doctors without anesthesia tried to hit my artery here, and it took him like 20 tries
Oh
Mhm.
without
no.
to try to hit it. And on the 20th try, told me, "I'm sorry, I did not hit it for the first time
Hmm,
in my
Oh
career."
hmm.
no.
Mhm.
And so it was so painful. And then after 2 hours, another doctor, like 2 hits only I had. So I had always like for 19 days, I had a very big needle until now I have a scar
Mm.
here, very big needle attached to my neck, where
Mm.
they get
Mm.
blood every like so
Oo.
often to test
Biglang
my,
funnel,
yeah.
yeah, entry,
And it was,
exit point.
it was
Yeah.
very difficult because wala kang
Mm.
bantay,
Opo.
ang hirap pagdudumi, pag-iihi, paglilinisan ka, ang hirap huminga. It was really horrible.
Ordeal.
Mm.
A very very difficult ordeal that I don't want anybody to ever
Mm.
experience that.
Yeah.
I have in fact prayed and said, Lord, do not let any of my family, my friends, office
Mm.
mates, or any of my church mates experience it. Tama na, ako na yung sakripisyo dito. Tama na to.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
hope none will follow this because kailangan talaga ng matapang-tapang na pananampalataya. Otherwise, because I learned that some of my classmates in the ICU would rather die than go through the ordeal. They were trying to just get
Mm.
the ventilator out because it was
Mm.
difficult.
Yeah, sa
So,
hirap,
yeah, sa
tanggalin
hirap.
na lang para matapos na, parang
Yeah,
gano'n,
correct. So,
'no? Mm.
so I'm here because I was COVID critical, and then I learned it was very providential that I was in Makati Med and I not in the other hospitals that I was supposed to go because my case, the similar to mine, sa ibang hospital, kaya na-feature ng Makati Med at the time, sa ibang hospital, only 1 out of 5 survived of the case similar to mine. But at the time, in Makati Med, 4 out of 5 survived.
Mm.
Mm. Mas
So
mataas.
they had a very
Galing
high.
management.
So
Opo.
tama yung management nila. Tama yung
Mm.
management. Tama yung
Opo.
Mm.
cocktail drugs that they have
Yes, yes.
tested on
Mm.
me.
Mm.
So we really became guinea pigs of that. So
That's
I think
great.
after that, Makati Med taught the other hospitals how to
Mm.
handle.
Mm.
And
Actually, I
then
think
yeah,
the different hospitals, I think they are talking with each other
Yes.
din siguro, 'di
Sharing
ba?
po.
How to
Yes
yeah,
po.
solve it.
yeah,
Kasi I know yung sa Chinese gen, tinamaan din yun si Dr. Carlos Lu eh. And he was the first to discover that one of the thing that happens to yung post-COVID is the blood clotting naman. Kasi siya
mm,
nag-blood clot eh. So yung
yeah,
sabi niya, no wonder when he goes to the CR, parang may buntot yung dugo. So ibig sabihin malapot yung dugo. At least you, maybe because of the cocktail that they gave you, and
yeah,
siguro din na test ng dugo. So
Mhm.
there's a tendency also for the body to produce new blood or something.
yeah. But
Kaya
I was
giving
given
the blood.
anti-clotting medications now
Meron
for
din,
six months.
Mm.
oo.
6 months
Mm.
even
Anticoagulants.
after
Opo.
the
Mm.
they gave me something for the kidney, liver, and blood
Mhm.
Mm.
clotting up to six
Mm.
months after discharge.
Mm.
And another miracle there to me was that nung 19 ako pinasok, 20 sarado ng Makati Med.
Mhm.
Mm.
Uh,
Right.
when I got out, April 15, my bill, by the way, was 3.9 million pesos. And maliit lang naman yung HMO, so I have to pay like, technically, what has to be paid was 3.7 something. But at the time, up to April 15, the day that I was discharged, babayaran lahat ng PhilHealth. So I paid zero.
That's right, opo.
The
That's
next
right.
day, April
The next
16,
day.
750,000 na lang
Maximum na lang.
ang
Opo.
i-cover ng
That's
PhilHealth.
right.
Even that,
I
given the
remember
timing,
that news po. Even
Yeah.
that talaga miracle po. Ha?
Kasi
Yeah.
pag hindi, mamamatay
Madideplete
sa
kasi yung funding
gastos si
nila.
Harold.
Yes, right.
mamatay
Oh,
ka sa
yes po.
gastos. Survive ka sa COVID, patay ka sa gastos.
Oh, imagine na 3 million, how many
Kaya nga
years?
po. Hindi
Ilang
lang
years
3.7
niya
daw eh.
bubunuin?
3.9.
3.7, close to 4M pala yun. You
Pero
are the
you're
$3
still
million,
lucky.
3 million peso man.
Pero you're still very lucky kasi nga, di ba, yung iba, they spent like even more, 5, 7, 10 million pa nga, di ba? And they
Opo,
did
still
not
died.
survive.
din.
Si Senator Alvarez, spent like 6 million, 8 million, but still died.
Yeah.
Unfortunately nga, sadly, may kasama akong doktor pa na Makati Med, kasabay kong in-fine, katabi ko ng kwarto. Hindi not in the same room, but like adjacent room, na Makati Med, did not make it. He died. So it was, I thank God, it was really a miracle that I survived. But I believe God also taught me even before that, because I was pretty conscious, not really very, very conscious, but I was hypertensive since I was 29. I was diabetic since I was 40.
Oh,
So,
daming comorbidities.
So alam ko comorbidities. But I was faithful at taking my maintenance medications. I tried to do walking. I was taking food supplements. Maybe not full, but a lot of food supplements before that. I was eating vegetables and fruits quite regularly. So, but problema lang, because my job really keeps me in a lot of meetings. I was overweight. I was diabetic. I was hypertensive. I had very little. I lacked sleep because of my work, and I travel a lot, so I had all the stress from traveling and everything. So, if I think I did not learn about prevention in the sense of lifestyle and your food to eat and the things like that, I think I would not survive. Because even my doctor said malaking tulong yung somehow the body is prepared for the worst time.
Proactive.
So
Pero
proactive
our
din.
body has self-healing mechanism din eh.
Yes.
You know, when we learn to listen,
Designed by,
diba?
Yeah.
Listen
Designed by God.
well. Tsaka I think also maybe one factor din is, pero hindi ka na nakakasalita eh. Kasi it is also good if we are able to verbalize what is happening to us. We observe our body, and then when the doctor, let's say, asks us something, we would know how to answer.
Well, the doctors asked questions naman po sa akin. Because after the 4th, 5th day, I was conscious na all throughout. And I think on the 11th day, the doctor was saying that you're now 80% breathing on your own. Something like that. So then every day they're improving. And then they ask questions. Ako naman po, because I was hypertensive at an early stage, I was conscious when I feel something not right. I immediately go to a doctor. I immediately ask for, hindi ko pinapalala yung sakit. So yung iba, they were taking it lightly.
Saka yung iba, nagse-self-diagnose, self-medicate.
I would even have thought that had I been properly diagnosed, if they did, but there was no RT-PCR pa at the time eh. Wala pa kasing testing. Kung alam lang nila nung first 2 days, katulad ngayon na meron na pala akong COVID, I could have not gone through that.
Tama. Kasi kailangan early intervention.
Early intervention eh. So, kumbaga, inabot pa ako ng 8-9 day eh. Before, because all the analysis of the doctors were wrong. in the first
Mhm.
7 days, walang kasing RT-PCR, wala pang antigen at the
Yes.
time.
Mm.
So wala.
Mm.
If you get a
Mm.
COVID test, it will take you 14 days to know. By the time,
Mhm.
patay ka
Mm.
na.
Oo, tama.
So that was a very difficult time. Kaya I can
Yes.
imagine, maybe there were people who had the same symptoms as mine, but because there was a better management already after 5 months, 6 months, marami na nag-survive. The
That's right.
survival rate
Mm.
was better.
Mhm. And
Improving.
meron na mga remdesivir at saka iba-ibang
Yeah,
Tsaka ano na din,
medicines.
marunong na rin yung iba na, okay, you have to boost your immune system to prevent ka
yeah,
Mhm.
catching COVID,
That's right.
'di ba?
yeah,
You have to change your lifestyle and
yeah. Correct, correct.
madami ng puwedeng
Then you have to sleep
gawin.
well kasi yun yung
Yes, oo.
sabi I could hardly even sleep
Mm.
5 hours a day. That was already a
Mm.
luxury for me.
Actually,
For so many years.
a lot of the COVID patients have a problem with sleeping, eh.
That's right.
Ako po,
Ah,
Yep.
hmm,
after it,
Tama.
it took me 1 year. That was my, by the way, I think that was my, if there was a post-COVID
mhm,
Mm.
like
side
effect,
effect.
o
Hmm,
yung sleeping habits, it took me over 1 year. Even now,
hmm.
may kunti pang akong problema. Hindi na nabalik yung dati. Ako dati, isang
Mm.
sandal lang, tulog na. I cannot
Baka
sleep.
kasi dati pagod na pagod ka kaya sa sandal tulog ka na. Ngayon hindi ka na gano'n
Chill. Oo,
kakapagod.
chill ngayon, chill.
Oo. Actually po, hindi na ako ngayon nakakatulog ng straight 6 hours. I wake up like
Oh.
three times every 2 hours. Nabago yung aking sleep cycle.
Mm.
Because
Ah,
nung sa COVID,
okey.
ginigising ka kasi. Nung na-COVID ako, ginigising ka,
Hmm.
x-ray ka. So, nasira yung aking sleep cycle.
Baka ano
Until now.
kaya, baka subconsciously you have a trauma,
I don't think so po. I
Pwede
don't
po.
think so. I have a
Mhm,
trauma. Uh,
mhm.
but also because I have to pee because I am diabetic. So, di ba, normally diabetics, hindi naman talaga nakakatulog ng straight 6 hours. They normally wake up like after 3 hours. So, I think that was my, the side effect that I had. Uh,
Mhm.
may balik yung sleep. But anyway, I was saying that I never, in retrospect, like some people kasi, they try to, or of course on the spiritual side, they try to blame God why God allowed them to go through COVID.
Hmm, hmm.
In my case, I never blame God. In fact, I thank Him. Kasi I
Mhm,
thought that if I did not have COVID earlier, I would have died of COVID later. Because
mm,
I was out all the time. I was
mm,
traveling all the time. And I might be
mm,
hit at the time that my body was weakest in immune
mm,
system in a place
mm,
that there is no proper medication at a time when
mm,
puno ang hospital, patay ako.
Mhm.
mm.
So, it was better that I had
And most especially
immunity.
siguro kung wala ka dito, you don't know
Yes.
then,
Yeah,
eh, if you're abroad, what
yeah,
would happen, 'di
yeah.
ba?
So,
Mm,
it was better I had immunity. So, I would be grounded as well. And then I
mm,
would be more conscious. And the other thing is that because of that, uh, I was forced to diet. I was forced to exercise, sleep properly.
mhm,
So all my sugar went down, my cholesterol went down, triglycerides went down. So my blood chemistry became better. And that again is another blessing because maybe
That's
I would
right.
not take it seriously and I might not die of COVID, but I might die of another
mhm.
sickness
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
of that.
Mm,
So
mm.
God was saying, paluin muna kita na lang ng COVID kahit may
Ano,
intubation para mag-behave ka konti.
oo.
And so,
That's right.
but wala naman, there's always a purpose for everything. I always believe in it.
That's
So,
right.
yun.
Yes.
So,
Mm.
I,
Then
now I'm open
Yes
for
po.
questions.
Ayan, sige
now
po.
we'll take a
Sige.
few ano, we'll take
Yes
a
po.
few a break and then we'll
Yeah.
come back with of course as in anything, we have a problem. We look now on how to solve the problem, how to
That's
fight
right.
COVID and I know you have your three P's to take care of you, 'di ba? So
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
sige
So,
Yeah, because
Raymond.
after I recovered, I read a lot about COVID.
okay.
And so when I
Okay.
read, I can now appreciate it because I went through it. So I can
That's right.
now somehow say, this is fake news. This does not make sense.
That's right.
Oh.
This is bias. This is
So that's
you
good.
know
ano pa,
Yeah.
Your real life, ano po eh.
gumaling yung
Yeah.
critical
Yeah,
thinking skills mo. Well, I think,
Yeah.
real
Yeah.
life
it did a lot
experience.
of good.
Marami po
Yeah.
changes
Yeah.
kay Sir Harold. Sige po, we'll be back after this quick break with our questions and of course para ma-expound din tungkol sa 3 Ps na naging susi din. Gusto i-share ni Reverend Sir Harold Ledda. Don't go away, guys.
Ikaw ba ay may problema dahil sa bad bacteria? Mayroong solusyon para sa'yo, huwag mag-alala. Subukan mo na para may good digestion ka. Ha, happy life sa Team Biota. Team Biota, para laging masabi ako dyan.
Mahalagang paalala, ang 15 Biota ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Kung puso ang problema, break the bad habits. Move on na para sa healthy heart. It's a big 5-0. Tara na, let's all be fit. Mega healthy sa Omega 963. Para sa heart nutrient deficiency. Sa big 5-0, strong ang heart and body. Sa big 5-0. Nakamove on ka na't kumanda? Sa Big 5-0, puso mo ay alagang-alaga.
Mahalagang paalala, ang Big 5 o ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Anak, anong gusto mong juice?
Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi gusto juice, gusto ng lahat. Ang veggie juice na papasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto pa. Ikaw ma, gusto mo?
Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kompletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto Veggie Juice, your yummy veggie drink.
And we are back. Okay, so yan po. As we have said
So,
earlier,
Reverend Harold, I know that we of course do not like people to suffer what you had gone through. And
Yes.
some people kasi they would not understand unless they have taken care of somebody na yan, mga na-intubate, na ventilator. So yung iba, hindi siguro nila feel, no? But then, the important thing pa rin is to prevent or you should know what to do when COVID hits, di ba? Kasi nga,
Yeah.
early intervention is talagang number 1 rule yan eh. We always tell people, you don't wait for the results of the RT-PCR and immediately, ang iisipin mo, baka COVID ito. So pag COVID siya, ano ang gagawin? Diba? There are already medicines, there are already measures that we can do. We have been educating constantly the public on what to do. Pero from your point of view naman, Pastor Harold, how do you think, what should the person do to fight COVID? And I know you coined something, the 3 Ps, para it's easy to remember.
Yeah. Because I also
So
teach
let's
it in
start
church.
with the first P.
And
What
also
is the
teach it
first
to
P?
my friends.
Okay.
Prevention. Prevention.
So how do you
Which
prevent
means
COVID?
which means whether COVID or any disease, prevention, di ba, is always better than and even cheaper than cure. Prevention can come in your lifestyle. So to prevent potential sickness of COVID in particular, you have to have a healthy lifestyle, exercise, proper diet, nutrition. So, and of course, rest, proper sleep. So, ito kasi yung sometimes we abuse our body. And I think, to some extent, that was one of the lessons I learned. I had a little prevention, but I was abusing my body in terms of not sleeping that much and not resting that much and not exercising enough. So I think we have to have proper exercise, proper rest, proper sleep. Then we have to have proper nutrition for prevention. So proper food to eat. And when we cannot get it naturally, we have to take it. We have to take proper food supplements to supplement. Kaya supplement ang tawag, to supplement what we cannot take. Instead of eating a lot of vegetables, if there is something we can use. Kasi mahirap naman lahat kainin. Ang iba, ako, I love vegetables. I love salads. So no problem with me.
So,
But
mahirap
for those that
nguyain
not,
kung minsan. We,
yeah,
we reach a certain age, diba, na pag
yeah,
hindi mo nanguyang mabuti, you don't chew them well, so your body do not absorb the nutrients that you are supposed to have. Kung minsan may kulang, kumbaga. That's why
correct.
we need to
So
supplement.
so that makes your immune system healthy. And of course, the other side is the spiritual, emotional side of prevention, because stress, worry is a very big issue in maintaining good and healthy lifestyle. Very few people know that it's the stress that brings the sugar up in diabetics. It's the stress that creates hypertension. That creates that is the cause for strokes and cardiac problems, and even asthmatic disorders. So a combination of this, put in proper perspective,
It's the, ano yan eh, ano yan eh, Reverend Harold, it's what you call the working of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind, like, sinasabi niya, oh, ganito yung feeling, ganito yung ano, kaya it wreaks havoc on the...
correct. Parang si ma'am yata DJ Raymond, can you hear me?
Oo, okay na. You're fine na.
Okay. Yeah. So, you're correct, ma'am. But I think a person to protect COVID, to be able to protect ourselves from COVID, prevention really is a mindset. We should develop a preventive mindset. It's a frame of mind. So we have to have that and I think this has to be taught. Instead of lockdowns, instead of, these are all band-aid solutions. Government should spend time, should spend money, educate people how to be healthy, so that even when another pandemic comes, we are healthier, because we have a healthier lifestyle, healthier spirituality, healthier emotion, healthier nutrition, healthier sleep, rest. In other words, the body is prepared for the worst. So I think that's the first P. I was not that good at that, but I realized that I was probably only 5 out of 10 before I had COVID, but at least I had 5. Maybe now it's 7 or 8. I'm not still perfect
Good.
at that, but my mind has a preventive mindset. So I think first P is prevention.
Prevention.
The mind is very important eh. Kasi nga, for
Oh,
example, di ba, when we think that we are sick, di ba, there are a lot of what they call psychosomatic illness eh. Like yung,
Yeah.
di ba, yung before, yung the most well-known is having ulcer, the hyperacidity. Sabi nga nila na, if you think that you are under stress, then it affects your physical body. So
Yeah.
tama si Pastor Harold diyan na everything starts with the correct mindset. And when you are
Yeah.
also, when your mindset also tells you that you are going to be cured, then you are going to be cured. When ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, we are being bombarded with the thoughts that COVID is something fatal na pwede kang mamatay. So what happens is, baka konting sipon, konting ubo lang, people will feel na, baka pwede akong mamatay. And
paranoid na. Yeah,
Yeah. And the paranoia is causing stress.
that's right.
yes,
And the stress makes you even sicker. So that's the problem.
Kaya nga yung iba ayaw nang lumabas magtrabaho eh. Gusto nila nandun na lang sa bahay. Paano yun kung hindi ka nga pwedeng mag-work from home? Not all the
Yeah.
jobs are work from home, di ba?
That's right.
But you have to have
Correct.
a living. Kundi anong
Correct.
kakainin mo? Parang
Correct.
parang si Pastor Harold, hindi nga namatay sa bill, eh, yung iba ganyan din, mamamatay ka din dahil you have no money. Remember
Oo.
Raymond, no monetitis.
Matinding sakit po yan. It's a dangerous
Meron din
illness.
meron din akong kwan diyan, maraming Pilipino na merong AIDS,
Hmm.
acquired
Acute,
income deficiency
acquired.
syndrome.
Oo, tama. At this point in time, 'di ba? Kasi talagang ano 'yun eh, yung it's a big problem. But if government will tell people, "Oh, don't work, stay at home." Eh, anong kakainin mo, 'di ba? Tapos and then
Actually
you have
po,
a mindset na
mm,
pwede kang magkasakit paglabas mo, eh, di pa parang okay, eh, kung hindi
a-
na
a-
sa tingin
honestly po, I'm a COVID survivor but I'm anti-lockdown. I've studied,
hmm,
I've read a lot, and when I read, I have the experience. So it would be very strange for an a COVID survivor not to believe in lockdowns. In fact, I believe that the lockdowns aggravates even the COVID situation. Why?
hmm,
Because number one, you put people in a cramped place sa mga squatter areas, di mas lalo silang nagkahawa-hawa. Hindi lumalabas, hindi naiinitan.
tama. Mm.
Tapos nagkakaproblema pa kasi walang makain, so na-stress. Mas lalo naging
Mm.
unhealthy ang katawan. So, in terms of preventive mindset, putting people
Mm.
in a lockdown is anti-prevention.
Mm.
So, it's a bad policy. Better
Mm.
to teach people to require people to exercise, require
Mm.
people to proper checking. And
Mm.
by the way po, I have to say this because ito yung isang hinanakit ko po. And I don't know, until now it has not been discussed properly in the right context. One of the problems why naggrabe ang COVID, nawala po ang primary care. Ang mga doktor natakot, nagtago. Di ba dapat ang mga doktor ang nasa harapan para
Nag-live.
sila
Marami
ang
nag-live.
magdetermine, gagamutin ito or i-hospital. Dapat sila magsabi, doon ka muna sa bahay lang, huwag ka magpa-hospital. Lahat ng tao pupunta sa hospital kasi because the clinics of the doctors were closed. So, you could just imagine if there are no primary or you call the primary care before going to the secondary or the tertiary or the hospital issues. Could you just imagine all people go to the hospital for colds and cough?
I think
When in fact they can just go home. Yeah.
what happened during the first part of the COVID was a lot of the doctors din kasi, they were overworked. Ang haba nung oras. Sabi ko nga eh, well, they always say na, di ba, the training of the doctors, even they undergo this training of 36 hours. Kaya nga sabi ko nga, that is killing the future doctors. Eh, ang hihina nga ng mga kabataan ngayon eh. Imagine, if you let them undergo those kind of training, tapos by the time na naging doktor na sila, their bodies are so weak, no? That I don't think they will survive a similar kind of pandemic as COVID. So during yung early part nung COVID, yun na nga, naghahagilap na ng mga doktor. Kasi nga yung mga matatanda din naman na trained na doctors, they are afraid then to medicate, di ba? And to do their job. Sana nga nung una pa lang, nagkaroon na ng teleconsult. But,
Pero ma'am,
well,
pero
it
ma'am, just to
happens.
say, a doctor, actually, they are under oath to cure a patient 24 hours. They can be sued for not doing that. In my view, that's an oath. In the same way that a lawyer is bound to defend a client. A lot of doctors nagtago. Of course, takot din sila mamatay. Sino ba naman hindi takot mamatay? But yan ang profession mo, Doc. You have to be there at the forefront para sundalo. Alam mo, mamamatay ka talaga. Pwede kang tamaan. Hindi man pwedeng pagyera, tatago ang sundalo. Dapat yung mga doktor magsirabasan.
That's why yung
I understand.
that's why we have to pay tribute to those na naglabasan ng mga doktor that who did their job, and
That's right.
expose themselves to the danger. And yun na nga, hopefully, the next time around, anyway, meron na rin, people already know, about teleconsult. Kaya nga yan yung maganda din na nangyari na we can adapt to the times and find new ways and means of how to solve this problem and meet another new problem. But hopefully, and I think ang isang maganda din, I think a lot of people are now interested to take up medicine also.
Correct.
Para
Pero ma'am,
mas
the
madami din
primary care,
yung
ma'am,
maging
the,
doktor.
the primary care also, ma'am, can start from barangay health centers.
Mhm.
So if the government
Um,
will hire local doctors in every barangay so that sila yung first line of defense and sila magdi-determine, there is a program abroad by other countries that before you can go to the hospital, you have to go first by a say a village doctor or however you call that, a barangay doctor or a town doctor in the province.
mm,
So siya
mm,
muna gagamot sa'yo. Pag hindi ka na kaya,
mm,
saka dalhin sa provincial hospital. Pag hindi ka na
mhm,
kaya sa provincial, saka ka dadalhin sa regional district hospital.
mm.
So iba ang level of treatments. Para yung pupunta lang sa hospital, yun lang. So hindi ma-congest ang
Tsaka hindi siya tama ka
Tama
diyan.
po
Para
yan.
yung
yeah,
kumbaga bago pa man din makarating ng emergency room ng mga primary hospitals, yung the bigger hospitals, yung
oo.
mga minor cases were taken
Wala na.
care of
Care
already by
of.
the primary care.
Yeah, yun ang concept. Para hindi ma-overload.
Yes.
Although I
Ayun yung
think there's,
Overwhelmed.
I also have another suggestion na since we're talking of prevention, siguro then we can have more emphasis on traditional healthcare, on alternative healthcare. Kasi like for example, I know for a fact na madami nang nag-graduate ng mga acupuncturists na
correct.
in the provinces. So, pwedeng they can be part of the primary, yung sinasabi ho ninyong primary
The first
care.
line, yeah.
Yeah.
The first
Oo,
line.
first
Yeah.
line.
Unfortunately, ma'am,
First
there is a
responders.
bias. There is a big
Mm,
bias against alternative and natural medicines, which is very sad
mm.
because that could
Yes,
have been the
oo,
best preventive approach.
correct.
Most of the medicines we are doing are curative, prescriptive
Tama.
by doctors.
Yes.
Preventive is really more the natural medicines and
Mm-mm.
diet and supplements. So to me, this must be institutionalized. And when we do that, that is a
Lifestyle.
lesser cost of health.
Mm-mm.
If PhilHealth is thinking properly, they should invest in preventive medicine, natural.
Actually,
To
di ba in other
DOH.
countries, covered na ng insurance ang acupuncture. I know like in the US, they cover to a certain amount eh. Maybe not the whole of it, but at least to a certain amount. They cover acupuncture. Kasi it's also very good na people are exposed to alternative healthcare when the medical doctors cannot cover parang they take care of the minor ailments, di ba? The doctors can take care of the major ailments or acute ailments. Tapos itong si alternative can take care of the more chronic ones or more first line defense.
Yeah. Ito na lang, ma'am. Sa Pilipinas, walang mandatory medical check-up annually. This must be required because that's one way of preventing serious problems in the future. If you do mandatory, kasi doon wala, ay, di ba may TB
Tama.
Although sadly, um,
pala to. Kung hindi
wala.
na meron ayan, wala. Walang, ayan ma'am, am I back?
Yeah.
Okay, you're back. Opo, you're back.
Pag may
Although
tumatawag, turn off.
sadly, yeah, you were talking about annual physical exams, no? I think a lot of the companies naman, they do that na. Pero, still sadly, hindi kasi nako-cover ng annual physical exams some of the illnesses. But
Nawawala,
the
naglalag
best
po
is
kayo.
still, as you've said, the best is still to teach people, educate them on how to listen to their bodies. Kasi sila lang talaga ang makakaalam kung ano ang nangyayari sa mga katawan nila. Right? So they should be taught how to prevent illnesses. They should be taught to listen and find out, maybe have a checklist of, pag ganito ang nararamdaman mo, And yung nararamdaman is dapat constant, madalas ganon. Kasi kung once or twice lang, sometimes it doesn't mean you are sick with that certain kind of illness. Pero
Yeah.
at least you're more conscious of probably what is going to happen to your body if this illness continues or occurs more often, 'di ba?
Yeah, so kasama po yun sa information campaign. So
Yes,
I
oo.
think the universal health law has to be recrafted to put a lot of emphasis on prevention more than cure.
Oo.
Uh,
Kasi 'di ba the medical profession itself hindi nga daw gano'n, eh. Wala nga daw
Yun nga po.
nutrition, eh, yun daw when you
Yeah.
study medicine, eh.
Curative
Uh,
talaga.
Oo.
yeah.
Tapos,
Pre-
mm,
General
so
overhaul
yun.
siguro po. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the pandemic
Anyway,
has
so the
somehow
first
affected
So
so
that's the
Sir
first P
Harold,
po.
prevention.
first
Yeah.
P, what is
Prevention.
the second P?
The second P is protection.
Okay.
So
Protection.
protection now, I agree we have to abide. I'm against lockdown, but I'm in favor of wearing mask, proper mask, of course, social distancing, avoiding crowds. So these are protection.
Washing
Now,
of the hands.
washing of hands. Okay. Well, vaccination, depending on your conviction. If you feel that you believe in vaccination, fine. If you don't, that's part of protection. Self-quarantine. Well, hindi ka na kailangan turuan ng gobyerno. You know, the problem with lockdowns is that we are treated as kids. The government is dictating on our action. We should be treated as adults. So we should know how to quarantine ourselves. Masama pakiramdam ko, hindi ako papasok kasi makahawa ako. So I should be the one to be conscious not to protect others from me, so to say. So protection is a discipline also. It's a mindset also that a person has to have.
Dapat I think Filipinos should be taught on more of compassion for others.
Yep. Internal
Kasi,
discipline.
and most
compassion.
especially, di ba, during yung times right now, when we say that people are always very selfish because they want to be gratified immediately. The world is about them and it's not about others. So, it's about time siguro nga God wants to teach us a little compassion na for
Empathy.
others.
Look at the way people drive, ma'am. Paunahan. They don't care about nakakaabala sila sa likod. Ang Pilipino, kulang sa courtesy. When the foreigners tell us that we are really happy people, we're really like smiling, we're loving, but we're undisciplined, undisciplined, discourteous people. Aatras tayo kaya nakaabala tayo ng 10 kotse pa sa likod. We don't care. Sa pila, some do not respect the queue. Yung ganong
Kasi pasaway
mentality.
Parang
Yeah.
for them,
But
pag nakalusot sila, ay ang saya-saya nila.
Wala kasi accountability pa masyado.
Although,
sa
ma'am, I
Philippines.
tried to study that part in
Yes.
one of my studies in the graduate school or in the schools that I was involved. That is also partly historical and cultural because of the poverty level in the Philippines and the people were like survival of the fittest na kung sino yung pinakamagaling mabubuhay kasi nga hirap ng buhay eh. So paunahan talaga sa pagkain, kasi sa pamilya. Ako unang kumain kasi walang matira sa akin eh. Unahin ko yan. Di ba? Ako dapat mauna sa bahay. So that kind of mentality nadadala. So nawala yung care for others because ako muna para mabuhay. So this drive, this sociological, historical framework brought about by poverty or difficulty of life kills compassion in the sense kasi una muna, sarili muna. Limited ang pagkain ng pamilyang Pilipinong mahirap. Unahin ko to para akin yung pinakamagandang choice cut. Otherwise, iwan sa akin, buto na lang. You know?
Baka wala pang matira.
Baka mawala pang matira. It all boils down to that. And majority of the Filipinos are not naman rich. So they have to go through that process. And unintentionally, subliminally, they have that mindset. So subukan po ninyo sa mga party. Automatic na mag-aagawan ng bring home, ng take away
Mm.
pagkatapos ng
Mm.
party.
Mm.
Pag-aagawan ka agad yung lechon, paghati-hatian ka agad. Kasi nandun yung mindset eh. Bihira magsabi, sige sa inyo na lang yan. Huwag na ako, inyo na lang yan. Because of the,
Actually,
I cannot blame them. Yan.
Yeah. Actually, yun nga yun hindi ko nga malaman kung if I should be happy or not. Kasi imagine if you are the host, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Tapos biglang lahat nagbalot ng pagkain, samantalang ikaw hindi pa kumakain, 'di ba? Kasi nga you let your guest eat first. And then if everybody wants to bring home, di syempre sasabihin mo, sige, you can bring home, 'di ba? Pero they did not realize that the host himself has not eaten. Wala naman
Yeah.
nag-isip kung nakakain na siya. Ay,
Actually, ma'am, doon
anyway.
sa church namin, ang church namin po, if I may say, I pastor a church po that are predominantly from the depressed areas. Parola, Baseco, mga mahihirap talaga. But I teach this as well in church. Magugulat po kayo, even my parents, when they were still alive, my siblings, pag pupunta sila sa church namin, ang mga members namin, taga-squatter, pero hindi asal squatter. Walang nagbe-bring home.
Naniniwala din ako dyan. Sabi nga
Walang
nila
nagbe-bring home unless sinabihan silang pwede na. Walang
ay,
nagtatapon walang nagtatapon ng mga buto ng kung ano-ano sa kalat sa floor. Go to the put it in the proper trash. Kusang nililigpit ang kanilang mga kalat. Natuturuan naman po. Kaya hindi ako naniniwala na kasi kami dito kami ganun na kami. No. That is part of
It can be
formation.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
we
right.
always say nga, 'di ba, money cannot buy breeding eh. So, it's a part of the
Yeah.
education and the mindset how the
Yeah.
person will act, no?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
you're correct din na kaya nga maganda yung habang bata pa, nai-inculcate na yung mga magagandang practices,
Yes.
magagandang habits, 'di ba?
Train a
So,
child in the way he should go.
yeah,
Ma'am,
because the
ma'am,
childhood
tayo
affects
meron,
greatly.
correct. Nung panahon natin, ma'am, meron tayong good manners and right conduct course. Sa grade 1, grade 2,
Wala
grade
na
3.
ba
Bakit wala
ngayon?
na ngayon? Wala na po.
Oh.
So I think it's about time to remind our legislators, maybe you bring that back.
But yes.
We have removed the good manners and right conduct training in elementary and kindergarten school. So, ang mga bata natin ngayon have their different moralities, different standards of behavior, different kinds of freedoms that are not really right because they were not taught properly at a younger age. So, wala na yung good manners and right conduct. For you to
okay.
know GMRC, you must be 50 and above.
Baka ayaw na mag-print ng libro yung ano. You know, one time, I was before, no, when nagsusundo ako nung hinihintay ko yung mga anak ko. Kasi my children studied in a Catholic school with the public school sa tabi. And then there was some parent there. Teacher pala siya nung public school sa tabi. But she sends her kids to the private school. So we were talking about this GMRC. Sabi niya, alam niyo ma'am, nakakalungkot isipin, no? But the children in the public school, di ba they're given free books? But it is the parents, binebenta daw yung mga libro eh. So sabi niya, it's so hard for us teachers to teach the proper habits to the children when the parents at home are teaching otherwise. So that's another thing that education can do. So kaya nga through the years kumbaga nagpatong-patong na rin yung mga wrong teachings. Probably even the children, they do not know what is right or wrong already.
There is a phrase I normally use that there are no delinquent children where there are no delinquent parents. So parenting starts the GMRC starts with the parents, so they can now tell that to their children.
That's why I always say when you want to find out how a person will perform in the office, you have to ask about the background, about the parents, how they were brought up. find out what are the childhood hang-ups, ganon.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you will better understand the person better. So yan din that, we also have that same problem in business kasi like government right now. Sabi ko nga, oh, you want to let everybody go into business. Eh sino naman yung magiging empleyado? And the problem with Filipino employees right now is kulang sa values and teachings.
Ah,
Ang alam nila is, okay, kailangan kong sumweldo. But ano naman yung corresponding responsibility and productivity that you are giving to the company? Remember, the company, pag hindi siya kumikita, saan siya kukuha ng pansweldo sa iyo, 'di ba? So yan
yeah.
Exactly.
yung sometimes they do not understand that. And especially during the COVID pandemic, sa totoo lang, all business are hardly surviving. So they should be grateful already that they have a job and they should do their job well. Kasi nga, if you don't do your job well, the company will close down, 'di ba?
Right,
So, a
right.
lot of learnings. But let's go to your
So,
third P. Nako,
well,
baka maubusan tayo
okay,
ng oras.
okay.
The
So
third
my
and
third
most
tip po,
important
uh,
P.
is prayer.
Mm.
Yeah.
My third P is prayer, and it looks simple, but prayer is another mindset. So
Mm.
prevention is a mindset, protection is a mindset, and prayer
Mm.
is a mindset. Because to me, a prayerful person will be less worried, less stressed
Tama.
person,
Mhm.
happier person, more productive person, more conscious about his morality,
Mhm.
because he talks to his God every day or every moment. So it is a foundational framework. Prayer is not reciting something. Prayer is talking to a being beyond our abilities, beyond us.
That's
So
right.
when we connect to somebody beyond us, we are endowed with a kind of discipline, strength, direction, vision that makes us prepared for work, for a crisis in health, in marriage, or in any situation. So prayer to me is essential, especially in fighting COVID. I will tell you po, I would not have survived COVID without prayer.
Mhm. Mhm.
My prayer life, meaning I was praying all the time, because what can you do? You cannot. All I do was praying, really, to be honest, breathing and praying, and
Really
the
important.
church as well was praying for me. Science helped me survive. The doctors helped me survive. I thank all the health workers and friends who helped me survive. But it was, after all, it was really God that really allowed me to survive. To whom he was the one I was praying for. Because if he tells you that you will not survive, then you're dead. So I believe prayer, because prayer is founded on faith. You don't pray if you don't believe in the direction of your prayer. So
That's right.
it's a mindset. So it helps a lot. In fact, there are studies in medical field that patients who are more prayerful, I think, has 57% chance, higher, 57% higher chance of healing than those
Mhm.
who do not pray.
Mhm.
So it is part of the health process. And I like your program. In the introduction, it says spiritual, moral, emotional,
Mhm.
health, and everything.
Mhm.
So because we are not just a physical being.
Mhm.
I am a believer that we are a spirit, we have a soul, and we have a body. So we take care of our body, but we take care of our souls, and we take care of our spirits. And prayer plays a large role in that.
Hmm. Kasi
Don't
Yes.
let
ano
me
yan
talk
eh.
Well
some more,
said.
because don't talk with, because I can talk years for this. I've been preaching for many years. So
The
That's
holistic,
right.
and because kasi kami, we believe that, to be healthy, a person to be healthy needs a holistic approach to health. And
yeah,
a person is, it's not just, we are not just the physical, it comes in all aspects. And I also like very much what you were saying about the mindset. Kasi nga, even in business, you teach that you have to have the proper mindset when you start something. Kasi nga, you will not reach where you want to go without a proper mindset. At the end of the day, when something comes up and there's a problem, your mindset will tell you which direction to take.
yes,
So,
yes,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
because it's very near, not because it's very near Christmas season that we believe in prayer, but I think that every day we should be prayerful, as you said,
Mhm.
because it is part of our whole being, di
Yeah.
ba? And maybe next time we can have 1 more hour for you, Sir
Yes,
Pastor Harold, to talk about
yes, sir.
No
the
problem, ma'am. No problem. My pleasure.
the
My pleasure.
spiritual
Spiritual
mindset,
health.
di
Yeah,
ba?
Yeah, yeah,
Spiritual
yeah,
health,
spiritual health.
as you
That's
yeah,
said,
right.
it is very
yeah,
important. Ayun.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
so
with that, we'd
yes,
like
po.
to ask you for your parting words for our listeners.
Again, my parting words is just please remember this to develop these three mindsets to protect ourselves from COVID or any sickness for that matter, or any crisis for that matter.
Mhm.
Prevention or preventive mindset, protective mindset, and a prayerful mindset. Believe me, friends, it will help.
Mhm. Ayan.
Thank you. You heard it,
Thank you
guys.
very much,
Kailangan lang.
Pastor
Don't
Harold,
forget.
for an
Salamat
Yes,
po
don't forget
for
the
education.
having
three
me.
Yeah,
P's.
for an
Yeah,
education-filled hour about our
Yeah.
three P's. So, to our ka-revolutionaryos, remember your three P's and remember that health is wealth and knowledge is
Mhm.
power. Have a fun-filled weekend
Yes,
and
po.
kita-kits ulit tayo next Saturday at 8 p.m. Thank you, DJ
Alright.
Raymond.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to say goodbye for
salamat po.
now. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Stay
Thank
safe,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you. Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.